Today, while I'm waiting for parts for the Apple III and other things, we're going to look at this. It's a Sony DXC-1600. What I do need to do is a recap of this entire thing because it is not processing video properly. And as you can see, there are a lot of capacitors in this thing. This is one board. And on the radio today on the Pandora, something a little different, a little Monty Python in honor of Eric Idle helping close the 2012 London Olympics last night. And this is board 2, and there's a couple more on the other side. So a lot of capacitors. I'm going to start with this top board and then take this one out. As I remember, this is the processing board. This is the encoder board. Lots of 220 microfarad caps, which is fine because I've got lots of them, and lots of the 1 microfarad, which I've got lots of. So should be fairly easy, just irritating and long because of all of them. And then after that, we'll get everything all set up with the camera. And if you've never seen one of these, I mean, there's the battery compartment. It takes a very large battery that I have upstairs, or 12 volts. And this was one of the first portable single tube cameras based on a Sony Trinicon tube. Let's see if we can actually coax a decent picture of a Trinicon. I've never had good experience with them, but we will see. Alright, here's the completely recapped signal processing board, which is what this board is. The PR board is signal processing. In this board, these are all the caps I took out. And there are some newer ones in there, but those ended up being bad. And that was an issue. Those capacitors going bad, those new ones, was an issue. I'd had those for a while, and they were new old stock, and they weren't any good anymore. But there was a total of 28 capacitors on this one board. And I've temporarily remounted it. Here's the next board. I don't even know which one this is. Back to get it out. And this board is the chroma board. CR is for chroma. And it again has a lot of capacitors on it. And even a lot of these look like they're not in too great a shape. And so to give you a quick overview of the tools I use when working on this stuff. And what I use varies depending on the age of the stuff. This is what I kind of tend to use for stuff with printed circuit boards. I have my Weller WP25 soldering iron. Had used many different Radio Shack irons, and they always died. They were never that great. And I like my Weller. I've had it for about 10 years. It was a little expensive. The good Wellers are. This one was only about 50 bucks. And it's a single temperature. It's 25 watt. It is grounded, so you can work on ICs without zapping them. And then here's my desoldering iron. It is from Radio Shack. Oops, sorry about that. It is from Radio Shack. Had it for a while too, and it seems to work pretty good. And if it dies, these ones are actually cheap. That one's actually about 20 bucks. Magnifying glass I use for inspecting my connections and other things. Make sure I didn't make any solder bridges. Kind of needed because I don't have the best eyesight and have big glasses. solder, just a roll of Kester, what is it, 6337 solder, lead solder, and a pair of small diagonal cutters for clipping off leads, a pair of needle nose pliers for pulling things out. I also do sometimes use this desoldering braid. This isn't good braid, I need to get new braid. This stuff's kind of crap and it doesn't work very well. But what desoldering braid does is just sucks up all the solder. It's really good for small things that this can't get at. But here's a quick overview of my tools, and now we will start on the chroma board.